Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and for this Reseller Friday, I want to talk to you about understanding the platforms you're selling on. I answered a question for somebody who had a question about, well, should you leave feedback immediately? And what if you have a problem with a buyer, but you're on eBay, for example, and you can't leave them a negative feedback? Should you leave them a positive feedback and describe the negative experience you had with them in the positive feedback? And see, this is one of the issues a lot of times people have in reselling. They don't even know the basics of what they're doing. Imagine if you go into a sporting event or something, you're playing a game, but you don't know the rules to the game. And yet that's the way many resellers are completely ill-prepared, unequipped to even operate on the platforms they're on. And here's the thing. The rules are very simple. They're right there laid out before you. You can go and look at them anytime you want. No one's hindering you from understanding the basics of the platforms. And people still don't have any clue. So I just explained to this person that it is against eBay's terms to use positive feedback to explain a negative experience to the buyer. Because here's what eBay's terms actually say that nobody seems to know, even though it's plainly written. It says this: sellers must not leave buyers a negative comment with a positive transaction rating. That's simple. You can say, well, you should be able to, or whatever you want, or I've done it before, but I got away with it. Whatever you want to say doesn't make it right. But here's the important thing about that, because the feedback thing is not all that important. What is important is that you understand the platforms you're operating on and do things in a way that's going to get you the best results. Someone worrying about how they're going to get back at their buyer that they had a bad experience with, whatever happened, is not focused on the right things. What you need to be focused on is listing more. What you need to be focused on is providing the best experience. What you need to be focused on is actually understanding the platform you're operating on, and not looking for ways you can get back at your buyers. It's a very short-sighted and sloppy mentality, and it's why so many resellers don't do very well. They're putting all this time and effort into lowering their vibration and fretting and worrying and being anxious over a bad buyer. And in some cases, this is not even stuff people are going through. They're not even having a bad buyer. They're just worried about, what am I going to do if this happens to me? Imagine just fretting and wasting your time worrying about something that hasn't even happened. And yes, it's good to be prepared, but there are so many people preparing for things that don't even matter, that haven't happened to them, and that is useless to prepare for. Meanwhile, they don't even know the basics of what they're doing. It is of utmost importance that you become an expert at the platforms you're selling on. I'm not saying you have to know the minutia of the terms that get down into just trivial nonsense, but basic things you do on the site each and every day, you should know. And for example, with the feedback, it's been years since I've left a feedback as a seller for a buyer, because I just have it all set up automatic. Why would I waste my time leaving feedback for people when you could set it up to automatically leave feedback for them? That's what they want. The buyer wants to be given the proper feedback, because if they paid you, that's pretty much the end of their obligation to you. So why would you hold feedback and wait for them to leave you positive feedback so then you can leave them with positive feedback? Why? Why would you waste your time doing that? Just have it set up. eBay's giving you the tools to do it. Let the system do it automatically. And don't even have a second of your time. I don't think about leaving feedback ever. Except if I buy something. But as a seller, just let the platform handle that. Why would I waste my time? And I'm not trying to force the buyer to leave me positive feedback and then I'll leave them positive. Why would I do that? These are the things people get into that are trivial, that are petty, and that waste their time. There shouldn't be a second of your day wasted leaving feedback for buyers if you have a system in place that can do it for you automatically. So much time is wasted on trivial matters. So much time is wasted on fighting buyers or vendors or whatever other platforms. The platforms are the biggest thing that people love to waste their time about, arguing over this platform and that platform, arguing over this problem on the site, and that's going on, this is bad, and the customers are bad, and stop. You need to become a master of your business, know everything going on in it, knowing how things should be running day to day to be the most effective and efficient on that platform, and not get caught up in the trivial matters of people who don't become successes. Listen, the vast majority of resellers, and this goes with almost any business, but with reselling specifically, because it's such a low barrier to entry, you get so many people come in who have no business experience, and it shows because they don't run their business like a business. They run it like a hobby / an extension of themselves / I don't know. It's not, but none of it's like a business. Barely run like a business. And they wonder why they don't get good results. So if you have a question about something on one of the platforms you're on, go and actually read their terms and figure out what the answer is. It's amazing to me that people put more time into asking a question about something than it would have even taken to just go on the very platform they're asking about and find the answer. Now, I do understand that maybe sometimes people don't even know the right question to ask, but realistically, sometimes you can copy and paste the question they're asking into the very platform's search site in their help section and get the answer. So it's not even about, oh, they didn't know the right things to ask. That could be possible. But for the most part, people just aren't putting the basics into it. You have a question about feedback, go read the feedback policy. You'll find your answer. But realistically, you need to step back even before that and ask yourself, is this worth my time? Me trying to get back at a buyer, is that a valuable use of my time? Is that going to provide the best experience for the buyer? Now you may say, well, this is a bad buyer, so I don't care about their experience. Well, you should, because maybe they're a bad buyer. Maybe they just misunderstood something. You don't know what's going on, but here's the thing. You need to treat it like a professional would treat it, like a real business. You think Walmart or Target or any of these big stores want to take returns? Of course they don't. But they take them up to 90 days. Why? Because that's best for the customer experience. Do you think they get bad buyers? Of course they do. They still take the returns. They still offer the customer the best experience, just as if they were a good buyer. And that's the way you need to operate, like a real business, like a professional. Yes, you may have a bad buyer. I get that. Yes, maybe they're not the best person in the world. I get that. You still provide the best experience you can, and you treat them in a professional way, just like you would treat any of your other customers. Because that's the right thing to do. You don't operate differently because your buyer's bad. You operate in the same professional, ethical, honest way that you would with any buyer. The best of buyers or the worst of buyers, you still treat them the same and operate in the same way. Because this is a business for you. It's not some emotional roller coaster you're on, or some thing where you're all tied up and worried and fretting because somebody sent you back the wrong item, or somebody wanted a return and you didn't offer free returns. Just be a professional and become a master at your business, an expert at your business, and treat it like a real business. Because when you do that, you take up that mentality, you start operating like a real business, not like somebody doing some hobby from their home. And it's perfectly fine to be doing it from your home. That's perfectly fine. But you don't treat it like that. You don't treat it like it's some hobby. It's a real business for you. You operate it like a real business. You're professional. You do things the right way. You're going to get the best results. So I encourage you today, really think about the way you operate your business. Are you treating it like a business? Are you operating it in the best way possible? Are you treating your customers in the way that will give them the best experience, even if they're a bad buyer, a bad customer? Are you still operating from your perspective professionally and doing the best you can for that customer? And I know you'll find if you'll operate in this way, you'll become a professional. You'll do things the right way. You start looking at your business as a business. You're going to see the best results. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.